currently and historically. Opposed to secret societies. Opposed to secret oaths. Opposed to secret proceedings. Secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, would interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
All right. Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. 4 podcasts in one day. I think that's honestly probably my newest record. I don't think I've ever done 4 podcasts in one day. Yeah, I'm kind of proud of myself. Which, today was my day off. I wasn't even planning on having today off. It's Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. But I got a little bit done. I cooked some dinner earlier. I took a little nap. I just woke up from that. That was nice. Bathed and shaved. Not much else to do because everything's closed on Thanksgiving. Been playing some video games. I'm currently playing Croc 2 for GBA. So if you listen to my other podcast, Blue Pill Podcast, I will probably be doing a game review on that within the near future. As far as the update, that's it. I have a Buy Me a Coffee account set up in the link below. If you donate money, I will snail mail you a bumper sticker. Once these are gone, there's 2 or 3 left. I'm going to get some bookmarks made because it seems like everybody wants some bookmarks. So somehow I missed this, and I'm actually a little surprised at the conspiracy community, or truth community, whatever people want to call it. People argue like, we shouldn't call it conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy. Didn't you know that the FBI in 1960 blah 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 created that term to make us all... Yeah. Who cares? You know, I take the word and I make it what I want to make it. Anyways, the conspiracy community, I'm surprised. I hadn't even heard of this. Somehow this slipped past my radar. No one else is talking about it except for who I got the scoop from, God Rules. So go check out his channel. Tell him who sent you. Maybe one day I'll get a shout out. Doubtful. He is like super Christian, and he'd probably take one look at my channel and be like, nope, you don't deserve a shout out, you know. But anyways, he puts out some decent scoops here and there. He's a little bit of a QAnon guy. He's super Christian, which, you know, but if you can overlook that, like, he does put out and cover some cool stories. This was October, like, 19th or something like that. There was, like, this weird-ass fucking satanic parade in France. I'm not even joking. Here's a picture. That's supposedly Lilith with the body of a scorpion, ram's horns. This is actually slightly fitting. I mean, since today is Thanksgiving, normally on Thanksgiving there's like, you know, the Thanksgiving Day parade, Macy's parade, you know, Snoopy, big balloons of Snoopy, Barney. Well, in France they're doing, apparently in late October, satanic parades. So let's dive into this, because I actually kind of enjoy covering these weirder, I would say kind of more fun conspiracies. Not that I'm saying satanic parades are fun. I'm just saying the more bubblegum-ish ones. Like Burning Man Festival. We've covered that twice. We've talked about it in passing, but we've never covered it. Like the weird ritual at CERN, the tunnel opening. You know, I'm always very intrigued by these weird festivals, Travis Scott concert, just weird shit like that. So, satanic spectacle in France leads to consecration to Sacred Heart. In reaction to a show with satanic imagery to be held in the streets of Toulouse at the end of October, this was published the 19th. So, yeah, this was last month. Yeah. The Archbishop consecrated the city to the Sacred Heart. The urban opera Les Portes des Ténèbres, The Gate of Shadows, is scheduled to run for 2 days at the end of October in the streets of Toulouse, France. The show is generating a great deal of concern due to its multiple satanic and esoteric references. In response, the Archbishop of Toulouse, Guy de Caramel, decided to consecrate the city and diocese to the Sacred Heart of Jesus on October 16th to protect the city from quote-unquote dark threats. One of the images used was Lilith. I just showed you that. This is going to piss Christians off. So earlier today I put out like a cigarette rolling machine unboxing podcast episode. I've been taking older stuff here and there because a lot of it's not out on Spotify, and there's some topics that I've talked about before I started podcasting where I've done multiple episodes on, but they weren't long enough to be a podcast, but it's all about the same subject. I did several Bible reading videos when I was a little bit younger. I was like 29 or something, 28, 29, somewhere around there. 27, I think. I did some Bible reading videos. At the time I was unemployed. I started YouTubing a little more. Not podcasting, but just being a content creator. And we covered a video. You can check it out. I think the video is titled Lilith Left in the Bible. And this pisses a lot of Christians off because Lilith is like an apocryphal Jewish myth, apocryphal teaching that Adam had a first wife before Eve. And there's actually evidence of her left in the Bible. So go check that video out and look forward to it being put out on a podcast if you're listening out on Spotify, a future podcast, because I have to do some more editing. I have 2 or 3 episodes that are banked, that are podcast worthy if you're listening on Spotify. So look forward to those. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they should fire the guy who wrote the Bible. Some say it's Shakespeare. Some say it's Sir Francis Bacon, same guy, supposedly. Who knows? I don't know. But there is evidence of Lilith in the Bible. They tried to take her out, but they did kind of a sloppy job. And she was the first wife of Adam, in my beliefs, Sorry, if you don't like that, then I guess unsubscribe. Go listen to someone else, I guess. The name of this show will be performed from October 25th to the 27th, so right around Halloween, in the streets of Toulouse, is evocative enough. But it is above all its contents that is causing concern for the Archbishop. Dark clouds are gathering over our world, he says. And by the way, France, interesting choice. First of all, if you're looking at it from a Christian perspective, I used to be a Christian like when I was a kid. I stopped being a Christian, I think it was like 12 or 13, somewhere around there. Maybe 14. So I sometimes am able to see with a Christian lens, walking a mile in someone else's moccasins. France is very like a sinful nation. If I'm saying this, like, if you're looking through it with a Christian lens, like, The sex scene over there is wild. I've heard some stories, like, people are very open with sexuality as far as, like, having orgies, lesbian relationships, interracial relationships. Um, but also, too, Macron and his dad mom thing. his wife, whatever it is, that he's with. So it doesn't surprise me that a satanic parade would be held in France, you know? It's kind of wild over there. This urban opera financed by the city, so with taxpayer money, it sounds like. There you go, Satanism brought to you by the devils who run your nation, you know? Who run your city, the politicians. So they're using your taxpayer money. So there you go, France. Will feature large mobile statues such as the Minotaur. So right there, Minotaur. Not exactly a satanic symbol, but it kind of is if you look at it from the ancient astronaut theory perspective, mixed with a little bit of Christianity. So, I ain't gonna lie, dude. I believe in Minotaur. I believe in chimeras in general. I'm an ancient astronaut theorist. Now, does that mean that I believe in, like, the moon landing and space as what we're told? No. So before you freak out and say, you're an idiot, the world's flat, I'm a geocentrist. Not a flat earther, I'm not a round earther. At this point in time, I'm currently a geocentrist. But I do believe that something visited us in the far past, whether it be called the lowercase gods, whether it be called aliens, whether it be called demons, fallen angels. I like to literally refer to them as just interdimensional beings. I don't know what the fuck they are. But it is, in my opinion, we were visited by entities in the past. The Anunnaki, the lowercase gods. And I do, in my heart of hearts, truly believe that they were fucking around with DNA. I think that they took us from Neanderthal and created essentially Homo erectus, modern human being, what we are now. Which is why we get weaker generation and generation and generation. You're making a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. That being said, I believe that they are fucking around with DNA in general. There's a phrase in the Bible that I've always actually kind of liked. Nothing new under the sun, I think is what it says. There is nothing new under the sun. Meaning what was done in the past will be done again. And it's nothing new. Go check out my Jurassic Park playlist. I know it's a funny title, but that's what I wanted to title it, because essentially we're playing God, like the movie Jurassic Park. We get into the woolly mouse, mixing woolly mammoth with a mouse, essentially a Pokemon, Eradicate. We get into mammoth meatballs. They are literally they brought back mammoth and created a gigantic meatball, which they're going to figure out eventually if mammoth meat is edible and if it causes any weird thing. Dire wolves. We covered dire wolves. They brought back 2 dire wolves, which, interesting enough, was named Romulus and Remus. Nothing weird there. We still need to do a whole deep dive on the story of Romulus and Remus. So yeah, Minotaur in itself is technically like a Greek mythological creature. It's half bull, half man. But there are some people who would say that it's satanic because the fallen ones, the fallen angels, were messing around and making chimeras, and that's where we get chimeras from. And by the way, if you think I'm batshit, we did a whole episode. It was one of my earliest fucking episodes on this channel. We talked about satyrs in the Bible. And people will go, what? There's no such thing as satyrs in the Bible. Yes, there is. The Bible literally talks about satyrs, which is half man, half goat, They call them dancing goats in the King James version, but if you actually go back to like the earliest translation, they're talking about satyrs. There's one point in the Bible where someone is like, yeah, and then I came across some satyrs, like Pan and shit. Yeah, there was genetic modification and genetic altering back then, chimeras. So, we get into, they say that there's also, by the way, these mobile statues, because God rules, go check out his channel, like I said. He showed, and you could probably, if you don't want to check him out, you could probably look this up and actually watch video of the parade. I'm not going to lie. And people get pissed off at the stupidest things. I get weird-ass comments. It's usually from the Christian right. Just because I say something is interesting and cool doesn't mean I agree with it. I don't know how many times I have to tell people. But anyways, the animatronics in this parade are actually pretty fucking sick. Does that mean that I'm a Satanist? No. Does that mean, you know, I'm Illuminati and evil? No. It just means that I can look at something and go, that is pretty sick. The animatronics are pretty fucking dope. Like, some of them, like the Minotaur was like blowing smoke out of its nose. They look fucking sick as hell, dude. Like, moving around and shit. It'd be dope at a metal concert. So, it has Minotaur, his spider half-sister, Ariadne. I studied Greek mythology a little bit. I'm not too familiar with her story. I know Minotaur's story. His is like ties in with Icarus and flying too close to the sun and the labyrinth. By the way, we need to do a whole episode. The labyrinth that the Minotaur was allegedly in, they actually discovered. I'm not even fucking joking. That's why I'm telling people, like, these myths of ancient days are, a lot of them are true, you know. We'll have to do a whole episode on that because it's pretty fucking sick. And Lilith, who is depicted as a half woman, half scorpion creature, which that right there was artistic license, shock value in my opinion, because nowhere in all my years of study of Lilith, by the way, I have a kitten, a black kitten named Lilith, just because I like the idea of like a smoking hot, sexy, demonic chick trying to fuck my brains out. Sorry. That, and I got one named Horus, you know, the sun god, Egyptian sun god. I'm a witch, man, you know, whatever. But I don't think I've ever heard her being described as half woman, half scorpion. Usually Lilith is tied in with the whole incubus, succubus lore. So, which ties in with the paranormal. All conspiracy connects. And spirituality and paranormal and cryptozoology, it all fucking connects. Whether if people like it or don't like it, it doesn't matter. It all connects. So, in like modern paranormal, succubus, which would be, if you want to know the atheistic mindset, the scientific mindset, it would be night terrors, would be the scientific devil's advocate mindset. Sleep paralysis. But supposedly succubus is a demon entity, which is essentially Lilith, and she can shapeshift and change her sex. So if she goes and visits a woman, she will be incubus, like the band. If she visits a man, she will shapeshift and be succubus. And supposedly, this is kind of funny actually, but in ancient times, well, not ancient, but like in older days, they had a belief system that succubus would visit men, make them have wet dreams, essentially, steal their ejaculate, take the sperm, and then go to like a nearby woman's house and impregnate a woman. Which is fucking hilarious, because they believed in all this craziness back in the day. And how funny is it? And I do have to say, I'm not like a feminist or nothing, but how funny is it that men back in the day were taking advantage of, like, just how ignorant people were back then, and being like, no, I didn't fuck the neighbor's wife. A succubus visited me while I was asleep, took my semen and shoved it in her, you know? And people were just like, yeah, a demon did do that. There's no way my husband would cheat on me, you know? Sorry. So I don't know. Artistic licensing on the half scorpion thing. We go off the rails here, but we do go deep, though. So it's a creature described by the show's organizers as the one who controls the passage between our world and that of the underworld. So we're getting into like some portal shit. That's what the organizer literally said. Lilith, the half scorpion creature, is the one who controls the passage between our world and that of the underworld. Lilith is originally a demonic figure of Jewish folklore. So, we get into this whole portal shit a lot during these festivals. I mean, go back to the Travis Scott one where, you know, it's based off of that depiction of hell where his mouth is open and you're going into his mouth like it's a portal. The weird phoenix imagery, there was like a portal depiction behind him. The CERN subway, it wasn't a subway, I think it was like an underground railroad. It was near CERN, the Switzerland railroad opening, where they had the dude depicted as Pan, the gigantic Stargate looking shit. I mean, hell, they had like fake portals put up in fucking Times Square where that New Yorker chick like showed her titties to the Irish chicks. They had one in Ireland, one in New York. You guys know what I'm talking about. It was like essentially kind of like a portal. The elites love the whole portal concept. As a witch, I do kind of think it's interesting. I find it intriguing. I would love to be able to like do some insane magic and open a portal and jump out of this shitty reality. Sometimes I feel that way, you know, and just me and Sammy just jump through a portal with our cats and be like, fuck this reality, let's go back to, you know, 1950 something. You know what I mean? I'll be a greaser, babe, you know. So the concept of portals is always showing up throughout these festivals and stuff. On the poster presenting the show, the three giant protagonists are surrounded by a multitude of less than reassuring references. Churches devoured by fire. And by the way, they said the three protagonists. So the protagonist within this play, this parade thing, are Lilith, Minotaur, and, you know, Ariadne. Churches are devoured by fire on the poster, walking skeletons. Here, an angel. There, a red creature with a calf's head. What does that sound like? A red creature with a calf's head. Sounds like Baal. Sounds like Molech, you know. The ones who, in ancient times, the either Phoenicians or Jews would sacrifice their babies to. You know, we'll have to do a whole deep dive on Molech and Baal one day. Essentially, a chimera. You guys know my thoughts on chimeras. Was Baal an actual entity? Probably. It was probably some sort of Nephilim chimera creature that physically existed, and after he either died or moved on somewhere, there was depictions of him and people worshipped him. I believe in Baal and Molech worship. I believe, honestly, the elites probably worship Baal and Molech. I don't think they so much worship the devil, like a red guy with horns and Satan. I truly don't. I think they're more into like Baal and Molech worship. That's just my opinion. I know people don't like it. They want to think that the elites worship Satan. Because I think it's easier to digest than like getting into the whole Baal and Molech shit. Plus, where there's like the ties to the whole Jew thing, that freaks them out. Everyone's so scared to say anything about the Jews, you know. But yeah, Baal and Molech worship. Does it surprise you? Offer up your children to the fires of Baal, Molech, you know. Some people enjoy watching horror films, but you have to pay to see them. If we don't feel like watching all this, we'll just have to hole up at home for 3 days. The sheer size of the structures makes it hard to escape this sad spectacle, Archbishop de Caramel told Alatia, which is the Catholic paper we're reading from. I actually agree with him, dude, on this one. So, like, he's right. If you want to go see a horror movie, you can go out and pay and go see a horror movie. But don't force everyone else to see this. If people don't want to see this, they shouldn't be forced to see this. Because I imagine, dude, it would be kind of... And I'm not even like a Bible thumper conservative Christian over here. I'm pretty fucking open-minded, but... I could imagine like a little kid seeing this, driving past this, and it freaking them the fuck out, you know. And I had the same thoughts with like fucking gay pride festivals, you know. I don't have problems with lesbians and gays and all that and homosexuals, but I do have problems of people shaking their dicks around in front of children in public places. I think that's fucking weird and evil. And another thing, like we said earlier in this episode, the saddest part is whether you like this fucking satanic parade or not, your tax money went to pay for it. Because it said that it was brought to you by the city, you know. So yeah, your tax money, whether you like it or not, was paying for this parade. So that should piss you off if you're a Christian, you know, and a citizen of this city in France. Francois Delazier, director of this urban show by Campagne de la Machine, denies any satanic references. We are really telling a story about love, death, life, and the afterlife, with the great myths that have spanned the centuries. We all have the right to say what we want and what we think, but we don't have the right to censor or forbid. That priest, honestly, the quote before this, I agree with more. I agree with this guy, to an extent. I'm just, you know, playing King Solomon here in the middle, monkey in the middle, cut the baby in half, you know. Anyways, I agree with what this guy's saying. Everyone should be allowed to say whatever the fuck they want. There's a movie out right now that I did an episode on called The Carpenter's Son. All these Christian content creators are freaking the fuck out about it. I'm like, they should be allowed to make a movie where it's a horror movie where Jesus is, you know, possessed by the devil or whatever. People should be allowed to... I was talking to my wife about censorship earlier today. I said, I believe that every form of content should be allowed to be put out there, except for 3 things. Snuff films, child pornography, and bestiality. Those 3 things are where I draw the line on content creation and where I'm pro-censorship. Besides those 3 things, everyone should be allowed to put out whatever the fuck they want. If you want to shove stuff up your butthole and film it, go for it. But the part where I agree with the priest is you can go and pay and see those things. Here in Lexington, there's a strip club right up the road. The other day, they had a chick there that you could pay money to staple her with a staple gun. Staple her tits together, staple her butthole, crazy shit. But it's not out there in the open in the streets. People are paying to go do that. Yeah. And the sad part is, the part that I'm still going to repeat because it pisses me off, and I'm not even a French citizen, but the citizens of this city whether they agree with this satanic parade or not, are forced to pay for it. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of the whole satanic parade in this French town. Y'all have a good day. Please like, share, and subscribe, and happy Thanksgiving.